Okay, Longhorn fans, welcome back to another edition of the 41st Acre. We are previewing this week's game, Texas versus Mississippi State. I believe it is a 3:30 kickoff on
3:15.
Saturday,
Yeah,
3:15.
sorry.
I stand corrected. Um, so Texas currently is 39-point favorites. Over-unders currently 62 and a half. Texas number one team in the nation. Mississippi State coming off three losses in a row. The most recent game losing to Florida 45-28. Texas obviously coming off a win against ULM. So a couple key items. Blake Shapen, quarterback for Mississippi State, is out. True freshman quarterback Van Buren Jr. is in, making his first career start. So we got the Van Buren boys on the Mississippi State side. Ewers at the moment still questionable, so we're leaning towards Arch getting his second start. Um, any other injuries going on, guys, or players from either team to watch or keep an eye on?
Uh, on the running back side for the Longhorns, Colin Page is listed as doubtful. So depth at running backs hurt, and Trey Wisner still listed as questionable. So we may be down to three running backs on Saturday, which would be Jaden. Joe always a little bit hesitant running him out there because he is a little bit injury prone early this season. Um, and then you got Jarrett Gibson still. He was a little banged up last week. And then you got Ryan Niblett as your third running back. So definitely something to pay attention to as we move into the rest of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that's definitely going to be a point of weakness. Maybe we try to run a little less. Obviously, running against ULM was one thing with just the size of their D line and maybe their athleticism. I know it's Mississippi State, but still going against an SEC team. So maybe try not to just keep pounding the rock too much in there, just to avoid any kind of silly injuries when maybe we don't need it. Maybe more like quick game, screen game. I mean, heck, if Arch is playing, probably 10 more bombs, but maybe just a few less rushes. We'll see.
Yeah, so you think probably be our most difficult test? Well, besides Michigan, I mean, their D line was um, pretty good. Um,
hmm
we spread them out, and then they took those D tackles out. Then we ran up the middle. So this will probably be the maybe the second best defense we've played year to date. Um, so you think Texas has any problem running the ball? I know we felt like there was a slow start last week. You think there's a slow start? Do you think they struggle to run the ball at all, or is it, you know, business as usual?
I don't think they're going to be Um, I don't think there'll be a slow start. If Arch is starting, then I mean it's SEC opener, right? The crowd is going to be wild.
Oh, totally.
Arch, say that again.
Totally, yeah.
Oh yeah, Arch be his second game. I think he was beating himself up a little bit last game because he felt bad for the interceptions and maybe some throws he missed and stuff like that. So I think having him starting a second game will help a ton, and I bet they go down and score a touchdown in the first 6 plays. Right? I think they're going to be ready to go. If Quinn's in, crowd's going to be excited because Quinn's back, right? And it just kind of gets us back on the path to where we want to be, CFP playoffs or CFP and all that. So I don't see a slow start happening. I think they're going to be pretty amped and ready to play in the SEC and show them who's going or who's boss. But at the same time, in regards to the run game, I could see again, kind of like I just mentioned, like maybe not trying to just pound it up the middle over and over again. We don't have a big bruiser like that. But maybe get a little bit of outside stuff going, maybe some jet sweeps, even though I don't think we've done any this year. Maybe a couple, I guess. But maybe just try to run a little bit more outside, as opposed to just keep banging it up the middle since we're going to be a little short on running backs.
Yeah. All right,
I
Brett.
think you could I think you could start Trey Owens on Saturday and everybody's gonna still be fired up and we're still gonna dominate. I mean, this is what we've been waiting for 3 years, right? When we announced that we were going to the SEC.
Yeah, 2021.
So there's been so much anticipation. It's the reason that they hired Sark. It's the reason that they brought in the talent that they have. This is what we've been getting excited for. They've got the team that they want. This is when we have a chance to go make a name for ourselves. You remember A&M in 2013? Did they win their first SEC game? No, lost to Florida. OU had their chance at winning their first SEC game last week against Tennessee at home. Shut the can on that. So I think it's going to be pretty fun to be the first team between our two main rivals to get in there and just absolutely dominate. And that will be our entry into the SEC as opposed to a loss.
Yep.
All right. Well, Brad, what are you most confident about for this game?
Um, what I'm most confident about is also kind of one thing I'm a little bit nervous about, a little hesitant on, and that's our passing defense. So with the veer and shoot, you've got to have defensive backs that can cover in space. That's what the veer and shoot's all about, is getting players in space, letting letting them try to make plays on their own. Last year we were terrible at it. OU exposed us. We are terrible against guarding Washington's wide receivers as well. Where we've been really good this year has been in the pass defense. We've got players all over the field, and you've got safeties like McCubba making plays, Derek Williams making plays. Both of our cornerbacks and Jade and Manny Muhammad, they look like shutdown corners. So everybody looks good so far. But how many pass-heavy teams have we played so far as well? I don't know if
Pretty
we've
much
played one.
zero. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much zero. Colorado State was supposed to be that team, and they got shut down right
And
away.
they got shut down, and they're just probably not the same caliber. So I think a couple things on this. I think number one, this is a really good test for our defensive backs and defensive line as well to play this type of offense when we are. It is kind of a warm-up game with a new quarterback, like you mentioned, Ben. But this also kind of preps us for more talented pass heavy teams like OU, who tries to run this offense still. Um, but I think it's a good test. I'm confident in our defense, but I'm just a little bit nervous to see what we look like against this type of offense.
All right, Justin, talk a little bit more about what we're facing with the veer and shoot and what you're most confident about.
Yeah, so basically the veer and shoot, Texas actually ran a version of it back when we had Charlie Strong. The idea is it's just a quick math um, problem. If there's a light box, you run it. If there's a heavy box, you throw it. That's about as general as it gets. That if that is the case, I think what Levy will do, as y'all remember, he was the offensive coordinator for OU last year. And they busted out the quarterback run game, which is that wrinkle that a lot of veer and shoot really doesn't traditionally have. So Van Buren looks pretty athletic from some of the tape I've seen on him. I think what we're going to see is probably start with stacking the box, make them beat us one-on-one on the outside. Coleman, Hakiari, and I'm trying to recall the other starting receiver they have. Mosley. I don't know much about Trent Hudson, but Mosley and Coleman, those guys, they're good. They're not great. They get a lot of kind of manufactured touches. Again, it kind of comes from the veer and shoot strategy. So I think what we're going to do is probably pound the box with, I mean, just play heavy, maybe play single high and quarterback spy. Don't let his legs kind of beat you on whatever, some kind of quarterback draw, a design run play, or a broken play. That the discipline of our DBs to be able to maintain their okay, what's what I'm trying to say? Maintain, stay on their guy during the broken play while quarterback scrambling out is going to be huge. And just let Ant Hill and LaFau chase him down, and we'll be fine. So a little bit worried about the pass game, give or take, just because we haven't played it, but mainly about what the quarterback can do, because a mobile quarterback in a veer and shoot is definitely a different wrinkle. And it beat us last year at OU. And I think that a lot of that Texas team on defense remembers, and I'm sure Levy's going to try and bring something out like that. They got nothing to lose. They're 1-3. They look like a flaming pile of trash, for lack of a better word. And I think we're going to come out with our hair on fire in the beginning, but just need to everybody do your job. Keep the quarterback in the pocket if you can, and I think we'll beat them on one-on-ones pretty much all day long.
We need to do a that video from Billy Madison where they ding dong ditch and
I watched that movie last
it's
night.
poop
It's
again.
poop again.
We need
I
to put
literally watched that last night.
a Mississippi State logo on that.
Uh,
uh, all right, let's get into okay, bold takes and predictions. As we said, Texas, welcome to the SEC. Your first matchup. You're a 39-point favorite. Yeah, it's at home. Um, Bold take for me, Texas gets 3 turnovers, um, 52 to 10, cover the spread, and just under that 62 and a half.
okay.
Justin, what do you think?
All right. My score prediction, I'm gonna stay pretty consistent. We've been pretty good so far. I think we put up a half 100 and we hold them below 10. So I'm going 51-6. Um, I'm calling 51 because I think we go 7 touchdowns and one safety. I'll call a safety. That's one of my bold predictions. I know we just had one, but you got another freshman quarterback back there. I think we could rattle him, maybe get a couple of false starts, push him back, and see if we can get another safety in there. If we punt, I mean, our boy seems like he's doing all right for a freshman so far, especially at home. He hasn't really been tested, but he's getting some good bounces. He's got his hang time up a little bit, so I'm excited to see that. Maybe we pin him back and get a safety back there. I think we get another 100-yard rusher. As we know, last week was the first 100-yard rusher we had with Jadon Blue. I thought it was going to be Gibson. Ended up being Blue because he did get the run of the mill. I know earlier I said I'd be curious if we don't just throw a little bit more and kind of play more quick game with our pass game. But I think we will get another 100-yard rusher, probably going to be Jaden Blue. And I'll push it up to 125. I think he was just under that last week. So let's see if we can get him up to 125. I think Wingo is going to lead the receivers. Man, he's just got a connection with Arch that's hard to beat. And he's so dynamic and explosive that he could catch 5 balls and put up 200 yards. I'm not saying he's going to do 200 yards, but I think he's going to lead, probably not in overall receptions, but certainly in yards and probably get himself another touchdown. He's just that freaking good. And then the special teams, I think we get a blocked punt. Man, we got that blocked field goal last week. I could see us getting a blocked punt and just trying to show the SEC, hey, we can play all parts of the field, all parts of the game, and make sure OU now has something a little extra to look out for whenever we play them in what 2-3 weeks.
All right, Brett. Bold take prediction.
Yeah, so still looking at the stat sheet, still no forced fumbles on the year. So I'm going to start predicting this for every single game that we have until we get this one. My prediction is that we're going to have either an Anthony Hill or a Colin Simmons strip sack. So we're going to increase the sack numbers and get that first forced fumble on the year. That's one of my bold predictions. I think, based on what we're talking about, we don't know a lot about this quarterback from Mississippi State, but they do run this offense that's going to give them, some time in the pocket. That should set us up to either have several sacks on the day or several interceptions on the day. So I'm leaning towards a strip sack, maybe a couple of interceptions on the backside. Expecting a big day out of our defense. As far as score prediction goes, I get a little bit nervous with unknown unknowns. No tape on this quarterback since high school, maybe. So, one of those things, it just makes them hard to scout. And with that, maybe you give up one bad touchdown or so. So I'm going to say one bad touchdown and a field goal. They're going to score 10 points to Texas's 49. So right there up against the spread, a little under the over-under. But I think it's a dominant win where we get all 70 of our scholarship players we've been playing.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing, let's touch back on Arch. If he gets his second career start, like we're expecting, um, obviously, some good things last week, some bad things. We did talk about it a little bit, but let's touch on it one more time. What are you guys looking for if Arch does in fact get his second career start at Texas this weekend? Go, Justin.
I think you'll see some more deep shots. they schemed it up, planned it up, called it last week. I think he had 10, 8 in the first half, 10 overall. I think you'll see those feathered and layered throws are probably a little bit more precise. Well, he was 15 to 29. If he completes some of those, short intermediate passes a little bit more, he's got a lot better percentage, but also a lot more yards and probably 2 more touchdowns. I bet he's been working meticulously to get that right. It sounded like he was beating himself up pretty bad during the game and after the game, and everybody came and said, "Hey, it's not a big deal. We got you. We're a team." But he's a Manning, so you just assume that he has the work ethic of a Manning and that he's going to get out there and just be a lot crisper on those. I mean, he'll look like a freshman, I'm sure, still at some part, but I think that he's gonna just kind of reinforce, hey, this is the future of the program. He's not Quinn, he's not there yet, but I think he's gonna look not head and shoulders better, but certainly, closer to that 65% completion rate, and hit some of those ones that he just barely missed last week, excuse me.
Yeah. All right, Brett.
Well, in the post game, Arch Manning gave himself a C plus as far as performance goes. So he was, yeah, like you said, Justin, he was not pleased with his performance overall. I think you're right. I think he's going to be a little bit more precise. I think the coaches are telling him, quit taking so many hits,
Mm-hmm.
get rid of the ball. I mean, I think he was only sacked once last week, or maybe no times, but he took a lot of hits, especially in that first half.
Yeah.
So I want to see him get the ball out quicker. I think I'm sure he's telling himself, try to
Take.
get that first read, second read, check down,
Mhm.
3 second count in the back of your mind. But you're looking just for him to take that next step, to look a little bit more comfortable, leading that offense. I think that's what we're looking for out of him. But my prediction overall for Arch is he's going to solidify himself as the backup because we've all agreed that Quinn is the starter. And maybe another one of our wide receivers is going to go off for a big game. It seems like with each quarterback start, we have a different receiver go off. We have not talked a lot about Silas Bolden yet, so watch out for him.
Yeah, he had a heck of a grab last week. And I wanted to say something real quick. I'm curious if Arch, yeah, I was watching some of the replay earlier today, and in some plays, Arch had happy feet. He was bouncing. He kind of looked like Peyton, right? Where he'd bounce, 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 and then he'd kind of move a little bit, and then yeah, take the sack or make an ill-advised throw. I'm curious if they're telling him, hey, don't take so many hits, so don't run. We know you can run, but after you as Trey Owens, we can't afford you running right now. I'm curious if that has like maybe messed with him last week, where because he's so used to just being able to like, nope, I'm just gonna run. I'll go get 10 yards real quick, right? And I'm
Not
curious if
trusting
they're
him.
saying we need you to stay in the pocket. If it's not there, throw it away. That's fine. We'll live, to play the next down, but we need you to be safe. I'm curious if that's kind of what you're talking about of like, hey, don't take so many hits. And now he's thinking, don't take hits. I have to stay in the pocket. I have to wait till somebody's open as opposed to moving and
Yeah.
throwing. So
No,
maybe they'll plan a little bit more, a little bit more motion out of the pocket for him to make him feel like he's running and really actually just throwing.
yeah, I think that's a strength of his is getting him out of the pocket because the times he's been sacked, he kind of has been just standing there like a statue and yeah, I mean it worked a couple times on the deep balls, but I think offensive line gave him a lot of time and it might be a little harder this week against an SEC defense. Yeah, they haven't been great, but they're going to be a little bit better. So yeah, I think that's important is getting the ball out quick, or hey, just step up and take 2 yards and slide. Get something. You just don't let that blind side big hit happen and you fumble the ball. That happened against it was last week or the week before. He took a big hit from the blind side,
Yeah,
um, and
UTSA.
so
Yep.
yeah, you get a bigger guy, a bigger SEC guy on you, and that, the ball could come out. So yeah, I think that's a good point. But yeah, I think that's a strength of his. So whether it's moving the pocket, you know, whatever they got to do it. But I like it. Maybe some play action bootleg or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
But cool. Yeah,
The experience for him will let it become more organic and less mechanical, right? The more comfortable he is in there, he'll start trusting his instincts because his instincts are right. Right now, his instincts are probably a little bit of both, a little bit wrong, a little bit right. But we've seen it in Quinn, the way he develops, and like it's first option, second option, dump it off to your running back
Yeah.
or get rid of the ball somehow, you know. And he processes it so quick. So expectations the same for Arch. It'll get there.
Yep. Yeah, give him time to grow and develop, and then that offense will look like his offense in the future. Sark will call it for him. It'll be good moving forward, but give him time.
all right. Well, Justin, you sound great with that microphone. Thanks, everybody.
Hey.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. And we'll look forward to this game Saturday and doing our post game show.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. See ya.
Later.